Hey everyone, welcome back to Phantom Whispers. Tonight, we're answering a question many travelers notice but never understand. Walk into any hotel in China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, or Singapore and look at the elevator panel. Press the buttons. You'll see 1, 2, 3, and then 5. The number 4 is missing. The fourth floor doesn't exist. Or does it? This is tetraphobia, the fear of the number 4. And it's not just hotels. Apartment buildings, hospitals, office towers, entire floors are erased from existence. In Chinese, the number 4, si, sounds almost identical to the word for death, sai. In Japanese, 4 is shy, and death is also shy. In Korean, 4 is esa, and death is sa. The similarity isn't coincidence, it's linguistic fate. And in cultures where language and meaning are deeply connected, this isn't just wordplay. It's a genuine spiritual threat. But here's what most people don't know. Some buildings still have a fourth floor. They just hide it. They call it 3A or 3F, or they skip the number entirely, but the floor still exists, physically, structurally. And when that happens, when the fourth floor is hidden but still there, something else moves in, something that belongs to death. These 3 stories reveal what happens when you find the floor that shouldn't exist. Stay with me until the end. Let's call him Wei. He worked maintenance at a mid-rise office building in Shanghai's business district. The building was 20 stories tall, built in the 1990s before tetraphobia became standard practice. The elevator panel showed floors 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and up. But Wei knew the truth. The fourth floor existed. It was used for storage, old furniture, broken equipment, files no one needed. His supervisor called it the utility level. Wei had been there once during his first week. It was dark, dusty, and gave him an uneasy feeling. But it was just a storage floor. Nothing more. One night, Wei was called to retrieve archived documents from the utility level. He took the service elevator, the only one with a button for floor 4. The doors opened. The hallway was dim, lit by flickering fluorescent lights. The air smelled stale, like it hadn't circulated in years. He walked down the corridor, checking room numbers. The documents were supposed to be in room 404. He found the door. It was unlocked. He pushed it open. The room was filled with old desks, filing cabinets, and boxes stacked to the ceiling. But there was something else. In the corner, covered with a white sheet, was a large object. Wei approached it slowly. He pulled back the sheet. It was a shrine. Not a Buddhist or Taoist shrine, but something else. Dark candles, burned down to stubs. Incense ash, thick and undisturbed. And in the center photographs, dozens of them. Workers, construction workers, all wearing hard hats, all smiling, all dead. Wei's hands trembled. He recognized the photos. These were the men who died during the building's construction. 3 workers had fallen from scaffolding. The fourth floor had been the site of the accident. The company had sealed it, turned it into storage, tried to forget. But someone had built this shrine. Someone had been coming here, lighting candles, burning incense, for the dead. Wei heard a sound behind him. Footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. He turned. The hallway was empty, but the footsteps continued, coming closer. He backed toward the door, his eyes scanning the darkness. And then he saw them. Figures, 3 of them, standing at the end of the hall, wearing hard hats, covered in dust. Their faces were gray, expressionless. They stared at him. And then one of them raised a hand, pointing at Wei. Wei ran. He didn't stop until he reached the ground floor. He quit the next day. The building management sealed the fourth floor permanently after that. welded the service elevator button, removed it from the floor plans entirely. But workers still report hearing sounds. Footsteps, voices, the clang of metal on metal. The fourth floor is still there, and so are they. Let's call her Min Ji. She was a nurse at a large hospital in Seoul. The hospital was modern, built just 5 years earlier, with all the latest equipment. The elevator panel showed floors 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and up to 15. No fourth floor. But Minji noticed something strange. When she took the stairs, there were more steps between the third and fifth floors than between any other floors. The distance was too great. There was space for another floor. She asked a senior nurse about it. The woman's expression darkened. "Don't ask about that," she said quietly, "and never use the stairwell between 3 and 5 after dark." Minji should have listened, but curiosity got the better of her. One night, during her shift, she took the stairwell. She counted the steps, and between floors 2 and 3, 18 steps. Between floors 5 and 6, 18 steps. Between floors 3 and 5, 36 steps. Double. There was a floor in between. She reached the landing between 3 and 5. There was a door. Unmarked. No window. No sign. Just a plain metal door with a handle. She tried it. It was unlocked. The door opened into a hallway. It looked like the rest of the hospital. White walls, fluorescent lights, linoleum floors. But it was silent. Completely silent. No beeping monitors, no footsteps, no voices. Just silence. Minji walked slowly down the hall. She passed patient rooms. The doors were open. Inside, she saw beds. And in the beds, figures, patients. But they weren't moving. They were perfectly still. She approached one room. The patient was an elderly man, lying on his back, eyes closed. She checked for a pulse. Nothing. He was dead. She moved to the next room. Another body. And the next. Every room. Every bed. All dead. Minji's heart raced. She turned to leave, but standing at the end of the hallway was a figure. Tall, dressed in traditional Korean robes, wearing a tall, black hat, a Jeosung Saya, a death messenger. He carried a staff. His face was pale, emotionless. He looked at her, and then he spoke, his voice echoing in the silent hall. "You should not be here. This floor is for those who are waiting." Minji ran. She burst through the door, back into the stairwell, and didn't stop until she reached the ground floor. She reported what she saw to her supervisor. The supervisor sighed. "That floor doesn't exist," she said. "And you never went there, understand?" Minji quit 2 weeks later. She still has nightmares, and she never takes the stairs in hospitals anymore. Let's call her Sarah. She was a tourist visiting Singapore, staying at a hotel near Marina Bay. The hotel was luxurious, modern, 40 stories tall. The elevator panel was unusual. It showed 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then skipped a 13 as well. No fourth floor, no 13th floor. Both Western and Asian superstitions honored. Sarah thought it was interesting, a cultural quirk, nothing more. On her third night, Sarah returned to the hotel late after exploring the city. She pressed the button for her floor, the 15th. The elevator climbed. 3, 5, 6, and then it stopped. The doors opened. The display showed no number, just a blank screen. Sarah hesitated. This wasn't her floor. She pressed the closed door button. Nothing happened. She pressed her floor again. The elevator didn't move. The door stayed open. She stepped out cautiously. The hallway was identical to her floor. Same carpet, same wallpaper, same lighting. But something was wrong. The air was cold, too cold, and there was a smell, faint but unmistakable, incense and decay. She walked down the hall, looking for a sign, a floor number, anything. She passed room doors, 401, 402, 403, 404. This was the fourth floor, the floor that didn't exist. She heard a sound, a door opening. She turned. Room 413 was opening slowly. No one was pushing it. It just opened. Inside, she saw figures, dozens of them, standing in the room, facing the door, facing her. They were translucent, gray, dressed in clothes from different eras, some modern, some decades old. They stared at her, silent, unmoving. Sarah backed away. She ran to the elevator. The doors were still open. She jumped inside and pressed the ground floor button repeatedly. The doors closed. The elevator descended. When the doors opened in the lobby, she ran to the front desk. "There's a fourth floor," she gasped. "I was just there. Room 413. The receptionist's face went pale. "Ma'am, there's no fourth floor. You must have been on the 14th floor." But Sarah knew. She'd seen the numbers. 401, 404, 413. The fourth floor existed, and it was full. The hotel manager quietly moved her to a different hotel. No charge, no questions. And when Sarah looked up the hotel's history later, she found something. The hotel had been built on the site of an old apartment complex. An apartment complex that had burned down in the 1980s. 40 people had died, most of them on the 4th and 13th floors. So why does Asia fear the number 4? It's not just superstition, it's linguistic reality. In Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, the number 4 is a homophone for death. When you say 4, you're literally saying death. In a culture where words carry power, where language shapes reality, this connection is undeniable. Buildings are designed to avoid it. Floors are skipped. Room numbers are changed. Hospitals are especially careful. No patient wants to be in room 4 or on the 4th floor when they're already facing mortality. But here's what these stories teach us. When you try to erase something, when you pretend it doesn't exist, you don't make it go away. You just make it invisible. The 4th floor still exists. Physically, structurally, it's still there. And when something is hidden, when it's denied, it becomes a space for other things. Things that also exist but aren't acknowledged. The dead, the forgotten, the spirits that linger. Next time you're in an Asian hotel, check the elevator. Notice what's missing. And if you ever find yourself on a floor that shouldn't exist, on a level with no number, don't explore. Just leave. Because some floors are skipped for a reason, and some spaces are better left empty. What do you think? Is tetraphobia just superstition, or is there something more? Have you ever been on a hidden floor? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more true ghost stories from across Asia.